Hi guys, welcome back, and today we'll be making yet another grape wine because it tastes great, it's very simple, and everyone loves it. Let's get into it. What we have today, as I mentioned, we have a grape wine we'll be making from our debut. We ordered it from Flash and Post, which is one of the companies who actually deliver juices and things like that to your door, which is kind of cool. It's very good juice. It's 100% juice, of course, and this is what we'll be using. Apart from that, we will be also using yeast. It's a 40% alcohol tolerance yeast. We'll add some sugar to it, and yeah. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to put first some sugar in. Now, the amount of sugar for this juice, we'll add to 400 grams, right? So why 400 grams? Well, it's very straightforward, okay? We have 154 grams of sugar in 1 liter, okay? If we add 100 grams per liter, it's going to be 254 grams of sugar per 1 liter of wine, future wine. Now this, what it means essentially, it means that 254 grams of sugar should come out to roughly alcohol tolerance of 11%. Now, how do I know it? 254 grams of sugar in the 1 liter of juice will amount roughly to 1.080 or 1.090, around that area gravity. And if all the gravity goes to 1.000, there should be alcohol roughly between 11, 12, maybe a bit less percent alcohol, which is exactly what we're aiming for. 71B yeast, which we are using today, has 14% alcohol tolerance. So if everything goes according to plan, it should go all the way dry. So there should be roughly around 11% alcohol. Now I use roughly word a lot because all of it is an approximation. That's very important to keep in mind. Okay, but for the math, that's it. That's very simple. If you don't like to calculate the formulas yourself, you can go to the website. There is like 50 of them that I can at least find myself. I'm sure there is more. Yeah, just use the resources online. Very straightforward. But please do, and please measure your gravity because it's very, very important. Back to wine. We have 400 grams of sugar roughly. It's actually not exactly 400, but around it. Put it into our wine, into our brew. Or into our must, actually, because there is no wine nor brew. It's just a fermenter for now. And now we pour our juice. It's a very fun activity to see it pour. That's why we'll probably skip it, so you don't have to look at me do it. All right. Put just over 1 liter of juice in it. Now we have to shake it because all this here on the bottom, I'm not sure if you can see, there is a lot of sugars. Okay, let's dissolve it. As my assistant shakes the wine and makes it nice and integrated within the juice, the sugar, what I will do, I will just make a quick starter. It's not really a starter, right? But we do prefer to, instead of pouring the yeast straight into the fermenter, put it in the cup and then in the fermenter. The reason for it is, well, it's easier this way. It's very difficult to pour in the yeast without spilling it all over. And if you integrate it in the juice and then pour, it's just much easier. Technically, making a starter would be a better idea, but we don't really do it as much, simply because we are too lazy. But if you want to, yes, definitely do it. And if you want to know how to do it, or let us know in the comments, and we will definitely make sure to do one in the future. There you go, all the yeast inside. Now my assistant tells me it's all dissolved, so let's get wine. And my assistant maybe can mix in the yeast for me. Wine goes back. The yeast goes. Oh no, not yet the wine. There is no yeast in there, not yet. All right, so it's nicely dissolved. Now all we have to do is pour the rest of the juice in, right? We have 4 liters, we pour in all 4 liters inside. Again, it's super interesting, but we'll probably skip it and cut it out. All right, so the wine is here, juice, sorry. 4 liters of juice, sugars in, everything is in apart from yeast. But before we put yeast inside, one very small thing, very important thing is hydrometer reading. Even with such an old wine that we do all the time and everyone does it all the time and everyone loves it and it's so simple, things can go wrong. And the only way to know if your wine is done in the future or how much alcohol there is or anything at all, you need your hydrometer reading. So please always do hydrometer reading. Cannot stress it enough. Very important. And the hydrometer is floating, which means we can make a gravity reading. And my lovely assistant in the background can write it down straight away. It's 1102. So it's a bit higher than 1.08 or 90 I mentioned before, but I also added a bit more sugar, right? So instead of 400, I did add, I think, 450 or 440. So it's a few more gravity points than initially mentioned, but it's not a problem because we're using yeast 71B, which has 14% alcohol tolerance. And if you do very quick math, even now in back of my mind, it's roughly 100 gravity points times 131.25. It's going to be roughly between 13 to 13.5, maybe maximum 14% alcohol, which is perfectly on point of what we need. All right, gravity done. And now we can pour the yeast. I left some, I'll leave some juice in peppers on cylinder because I know I will need some in a second to take the rest of the yeast from the cup. So I'm thinking ahead already. Pour in the yeast. And as you can see, there is, I'm not sure if you can see, but there is some yeast still stuck on the sides here. So I will use this juice to very nicely mix it in. There we go. Oh, all of it is, there's a little bit left. We might as well use the rest. And just like that, all yeast is in. And again, this is very simple wine, very simple recipe. All we really use is the juice, sugar, and yeast. That's it. We definitely recommend it. It tastes amazing. It tastes quite good, quite fast. I mean, the one we drank was good after a few months already, but of course, the longer you can age it, the better. And of course, in the future videos, we will also show you the next steps, and also we will do tasting videos as well. But for today, that's really it. All we have left is just put the bun on top, which of course we have to make sure we do. All right, our fancy buns. And there it is. And it's done. All we're going to do is let it sit, monitor it, and keep you updated. We'll do more videos on it in the future. If you have any questions, anything was unclear, do let us know in the comments. We'll make sure to answer to every single one. And we'll see you in the future. Take care.